Oh, we're hearing you. We'll meet you. The world was hearing about your pants. All right, here we go. Couple of things. Ooh, static is starting. Why is the static starting? I don't know why the static is starting, but we are live. Oh, that went out. Okay, just checking some stuff and things. Here we go. Hey, it is the 14th of April, 2022. My name is Sean Shapiro, and you are tuned in to watch the most magical show on the internet, Ask a Traffic Cop. Who said it was magical? I did, and I'm allowed to. The mirroring the video button is being pressed, and we are now ready to go. What is going on today? Well, we're going to talk about a bunch of things. We are talking about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. We are talking about the Speed Kills traffic campaign. We are answering your traffic and police questions because that's really what we're all about. We are here to take your questions and answer them live on the internet. Now, we're not just on TikTok. We're not just on Instagram Live. We're also broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, on any one of those platforms, except for Twitter, you can ask us questions and we'll answer. If you're on Twitter, I'm sorry, it's broken. Head over to YouTube. You can subscribe to YouTube by visiting Traffic Services Toronto Police. You can get us at Twitch at Traffic Services. You can get us on Facebook, Traffic Services. Where else? You can get us Traffic Services on TikTok or Traffic Services Toronto on Instagram. I will tell you that if you were planning on going anywhere, Instagram's probably not the first place I'd send you because we can only broadcast for an hour and we tend to go just a few minutes longer. So to avoid being kicked off after an hour, use one of the other platforms. We have Rob Baker with a good morning, Tracy Bell with a good morning from Stony Creek coming in from LinkedIn, and Akela Dracona says greetings and salutations. That's his signature greeting, by the way. We have all sorts of people jumping into the room on every other platform, and we will say hello to you as you come in. Well, that's not true. I'm actually going to completely ignore you because I don't read the chat once things get going because I will be busy hanging out in the actual what do you call that thing? Q&A. Yes, when you ask questions. Do us a favor, please hit that button, show some likes to the page. That helps us share the stream to everybody else on the internet. If you don't know who I am and you don't have this little tidbit on the screen, because TikTok I put a background and it says who I am, but I'll tell everybody else who's watching. My name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. And we go on social media answering your police and traffic questions because that's what we do. We want to educate and dispel myths and have fun with y'all. So joining me today, I've got two guests in studio, of whom neither you can see. Aaron Urquhart, who is a parking enforcement officer, media relations officer, and bicycle advocate. Can we call you a bicycle advocate? Sure. That's allowed? Yeah. And we also have Sergeant Murray Campbell, who is a towing and pound sergeant, also a media relations officer. And I didn't call Aaron Campbell or Aaron Kulik. Today I got names straight because last week I called Sergeant Kulik Melissa Campbell. So yeah.
You're starting rumors.
I am starting rumors indeed. Okay, Andrew McNaughton jumped in from YouTube with a good morning. Good morning to you. Let's see what's going on. So Q&A. If you're going to ask questions on Instagram Live or TikTok, please use the Q&A function. Makes it a lot easier for me to keep everything straight. We got a hey guys coming in from LinkedIn, but your name is protected, so I have no idea who you are. Identify yourself, please. There are people who have their settings fairly secure anonymously, so I get the message, but I don't get the name. And Robert says good morning, also from coming in from YouTube. Okay, let's start with the big stuff. We can start with Vision Zero Enforcement Team because those are a group of officers who spend time in different divisions every day. It's based on analytics. Those big brain people who crunch numbers tell us where people where we need to spend time, and that is how we determine where police will be dispatched to spend their days doing enforcement. Now, today they are focused on 32 Division and 43 Division. Nobody knows what that means. That is the neighborhoods. Those are the neighborhoods of Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, and Guildwood. Now, there are more neighborhoods, obviously, within that division. However, that is where some of them that they'll be spending time in. Just to let you know, I understand that there are some issues with with TikTok right now. We're having some connection issues. We're connected to LTE, and yet we are having problems. So it might be a bad TikTok day. If that's the case, why don't you head over to YouTube, Twitch, any of the other platforms which are not having problems. But this is a unique situation where we're getting errors reported by TikTok, and they may be broken. We can't control what TikTok does, but we show up every day ready to talk to you. So if this is not working, we will move over, or you can move over, and the party continues. Okay. Vision Zero enforcement team we covered. They you know what, they focus on issuing tickets for the big four. Why the big four? And what are the big four? That's speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. And those are the driving behaviors that lead to serious injury and death more often on our roadways. It's a problem. And that's why we focus on them. So people say, well, how come you don't get everybody with tinted windows? Why are there so many people with license plate frames? Are you letting people go? Well, we focus our efforts on the things that are most dangerous. That's not to say that you won't get a ticket for the other things, but it is a reporting back. And sorry, I just saw a message from Judicall saying that TikTok is lagging. I think TikTok is lagging for everybody. I think they broke it. So yeah, maybe let me. We're going to put a message. If text is working better, I should put a big sign that says, "Come find us on YouTube. It works better." And I got to say, TikTok is usually the cat's hiney, and today it's not working. I don't know. I wonder if everyone's live is messed up.
Slowly. I have it up. It's slowly. There's people coming in.
Yeah, I see.
It's it is pausing.
It is pausing. They maybe throw some messaging up and say, "Go to YouTube."
Q's on it.
Q's on it.
She's on the ball. She's
doing the rock and roll thing. Today is day 4 of the speed kills. Let me switch glasses so I can actually zoomed in. Yeah, it's day 4 of Speed Kills. Speed Kills is our traffic safety campaign, talking about the fact that we need to slow down, talking about the fact that people are driving too quickly for our roads. And I mean that by they're going over the speed limit. You're not allowed to actually exceed the speed limit. It's a speed limit for a reason. You can't break it. So what happens? People speed, and we stop them, and we issue them tickets, and they get upset, and they go, but everyone was speeding. You're not allowed to speed. Not one, not ever. Let's see here. Noble says, turn guest on. We don't actually bring guests on, but Noble, thank you for the interest. We don't bring guests on because we don't know who you is. And if you're with a member of a police service or a special group that talks about traffic safety, you can certainly talk to us about being on our podcast, because we have a podcast. We are available anywhere that podcasts are downloadable. You can also get the actual video version of the podcast on YouTube, but you can also subscribe to us. It's TPS Traffic Jam, where we jam about traffic, and you can come chat with us there. So check us out and follow us. We only have 2 episodes that are currently up on the podcast, but we're going to record one today with Aaron talking all about parking and the things you never knew and maybe never wanted to know, but you'll find out if you listen to the podcast once it goes to air. Okay. Putting this on screen. Okay. What do we have here? Andrew Stewart says hello. Oh, I see. The unknown user is in fact Andrew Stewart, a former member of the Toronto Police Service, who I believe is now at Rogers. How's it going, Andrew? Okay. Sorry. I almost abandoned the information. We started talking about the speed kills. I got distracted because I saw a squirrel. The stats. I've been reporting every day how many people have been charged in the city of Toronto for speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and even stunt driving. So let me tell you what the stats are from yesterday. Yesterday, a total of 654 speeding tickets were issued. 4 of those were for stunt driving. 175 tickets were issued for aggressive driving. And that's a culmination of a number of aggressive driving behaviors. And distracted driving, well, 41 folks were charged with distracted driving. 1,133 charges that were traffic-related issued in the city of Toronto. And tell me what you think about that. I'd love to know your opinion. If you've got thoughts and feelings and things you want to share about traffic enforcement, about speed, do you agree? Actually, we can do a poll. You know what? We won't do a poll because TikTok's already having enough problems. If I use special features, maybe it'll just, shut down altogether. But I'd love to know what you think about the fact that we're stopping people and slowing people down. And why? Why? Because slower is safer. It's not just because if you run, you can fall and scrape your knee. It's because major or damage and serious injury and potential of death are increased when you increase your speeds. It's just a fact. You reduce the amount of time you have to respond to changes in the road ahead. Those surprises, like when pedestrians walk out in front of you, because that happens. In fact, we were on scene to a collision this morning. Now, we don't know the details of how the collision occurred, but we do know is a pedestrian was struck, seriously injured and now in hospital, and the driver of the motor vehicle that struck the pedestrian fled the scene. So we're looking for anyone who's in the area of Spadina Avenue, south of King Street in the city of Toronto, around 3:15, well, call it 3 in the morning, somewhere in that range, because we don't know when it actually occurred. We know when when we were called, which was about 3:16 in the morning, I believe. In any case, bad things happen when people are struck, and the faster that you go when you strike someone, the less likely that they will survive. The slower, the higher the chances of survival. Okay, that's good. Judicall says that the issues that were plaguing TikTok may have been resolved. Do you know what you could do to help us out if that is... Oh, Q says no. Judicall, you're frozen? Apparently, we are a Disney movie.
What?
We don't know what's going... We're frozen. It's a Disney movie. Okay, we don't know what's going on. But we're gonna carry on. We are going to ignore the fact that TikTok doesn't love us today. All right. We have some questions that we can go into. Is there fitness test requirements for the police? There are also grammar requirements for the police. Not kidding. I'm not trying to call you out for the fact that there are there. Anyway, there are all sorts of requirements: academic, physical. You have to do psychological testing. There's a ton of things. So what I would suggest you do is go to www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers. Get all the information you need about the requirements in joining the Toronto Police. And not kidding, grade 6, 7, 8 books on math and English. These are great things to review. I did it when I was joining, not because I couldn't complete a math equation, but because you lose proficiency. You're not as quick. So I did drills. I went through these books and became faster because it's time tests. You want to do well. You want to go fast. Okay. Let's have a look here. We have a bunch of questions that came about. Something about what is this question about? Can you have a clear bra on the car? Yeah. So you mean like an adhesive coating to protect it against dings and rocks? There's nothing illegal about having that on the body, on the metal. Where you can't put things on the front of your vehicle is like the front windshield. You can't tint your front windshield. So totally a situation. Oh, by the way, Aaron Urquhart is in studio. So if you have questions about parking, this is the time to ask, because this is 2 days in a row. I think I'm going to buy a lottery ticket because this doesn't happen very often. Okay. And then now that was a bra on the car, but let's see. Is it illegal to put PPF on my headlights to protect them? 100% clear. Coatings on headlights. We saw some vehicles that had some tinted coatings this morning. What about clear coatings, Sarge? Any issues with clear coatings?
You know what? I would say that if I can see that there's a coating on there, then it'll be illegal.
It could be an issue at that point.
Yeah, depending on if you think it's totally clear. If it's totally clear, nobody will ever know.
Well, that's the whole thing. If it's totally invisible to the naked eye, then we would have no reason to have issue with it. But if it changed it in any way, if it created star patterns, if it changed the way that light went through it in such a way that it didn't direct it straight properly, it was no longer optically clear, that could be an issue.
Or change the color or reduce its effectiveness.
Yes, it could reduce things. There are polarized things. There's all sorts of potentials in coatings, but it really depends on lost connection, switching to Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going on here. But definitely we are having issues on TikTok. Let it roam. Okay. James McDonald coming in from YouTube. Whoa, Shapiro at a different angle. Yes, it looks different on YouTube than it does on TikTok. Very different. But is it better? Is it worse? Should I stare directly at you? Does that change things? East Coast Hauler. Oh, is that your username on TikTok? I have to go back and look. What are your feelings about roundabouts? There are more popping up all over. Are they safer or not? Statistically, they are safer. Everywhere around the world seems to support that. However, they're unique here, and many people don't understand how to deal with them. In where I live, there's a few roundabouts, and I dread going near them because it's not because I don't know what to do with them, because nobody else knows what to do with them. So where you're supposed to yield to the people in there, it's always a crapshoot to find out if the person who approaches just thinks, I can gun it and get into that roundabout, because for some reason. In residential streets, they're in a terrible rush. So I have mixed emotions when it comes to the roundabouts, because until people are educated and used to them, they might actually create some issues. Should people know what to do with them? Yeah, they should.
You know what, Sean? I think they're absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love them.
Yeah?
I've been over to Europe where some roundabouts are actually just a dot painted in the middle of the roadway.
But they know how to do those.
And they know how to do. And you know what? Traffic flow continues in all directions at all the time. It doesn't. You don't have to sit for 3 or 4 minutes at a red light.
Absolutely. I don't disagree that they're better, but the people who are using them have to do it safely and interact with them properly.
Totally agree.
Now, one question that always comes whenever we bring up roundabouts: do you have to signal? And when do you need to signal? You need to signal when you're going to be changing your driving. So when you follow the road into a roundabout, you don't need to signal your intention to enter. That's where the road goes. You do, however, have to signal when you're exiting a roundabout. It gives the vehicles who are waiting that are yielding to you, if you're getting out, and they can go in. So communicating with the other drivers is a requirement. So yes, you need to signal.
Not here yet, Sean, is multi-lane interior roundabout.
Well, that's going to be scary.
You know what? Changing when they do come, you have to signal you're changing lanes within the roundabout as well.
So good stuff. And Andrew, thank you for bringing it up, because I don't think we talk about roundabouts nearly enough. Rob Baker supports and says they are way better, though. James says, as a commercial driver, I find some roundabouts really tight. Yeah, I imagine certain vehicles shouldn't be probably on residential areas with smaller roundabouts. They're not intended for that. But most of them have that area for the if you have to go straight through.
You know what?
Buffer zones.
Yeah, you know what? Even our larger ones that we have on our secondary roads, sometimes they're not designed well enough for big, long tractor trailers to effectively make the turn properly and stay within their lane.
According to Rob Baker, there's a 5-lane roundabout in Niagara. Oh. I've not been there to see that. Okay, here's a question coming in from Adam Park. Adam Park on TikTok, who says, or asks, are AirPods allowed while driving? And I would answer, but it looks like TikTok is disconnected entirely, and it might be back. We're going to assume it is back, and we're going to say that, yes, in Ontario, you're able to wear earpods, headphones. You're allowed to cover your ears, even earplugs. Hearing is not a requirement for driving here. Now, it may be different in different jurisdictions. I believe in BC, you're not allowed to cover both ears. I don't know how that works, but every province and state has their own traffic laws. So you need to know what's going on in the areas that you are driving. Okay.
Recommended, though, Sean?
Oh, is it recommended? No, absolutely not. It's not the safest thing you can do. And I, am fortunate to be able to hear properly or have hearing. Not everybody has that option. So if you, and I just want to back up before, hearing's not a requirement, and there are some very good drivers. I would say that drivers who don't have the ability to hear focus on driving differently. When you're listening to music and you're not focused on driving and you're usually relying on your hearing, listening to music can seriously affect your ability to hear, screeching tires, police sirens, things that you might be relying on normally as a hearing-able person. Someone who is unable to hear is looking to see these things visually. So there's compensation. If you take away your hearing and you replace it with loud music, it might be a problem. Not something I suggest. I was way deeper down than I planned on going. Okay. Squirrel. Here's a good question. Matt DKO wants to know, are cyclists required to do a stop at a stop sign? Yes. Yes, they are. And red lights, and they're supposed to signal with hand signals or electronic signals if they're so equipped. They are responsible for the rules of the road. And those who choose not to do a couple of things. One, they tend to get hit by cars and other motor vehicles. That's a problem. But yeah, they're responsible for cycling safely, and they contribute to their own injuries and collisions when they don't. It's very hard to, one of the things that I think is funny, and Aaron's a cyclist, what would you say is a good percentage of people who do and don't, or what would you say the split is that you observe?
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I see it all the time out there. I would say about like 95%, if not higher, maybe 95 to like 98% do not follow the rules of the road. And it's frustrating for me because, I try to lead by example, and I will come to a full stop at a stop sign and there'll be multiple cyclists behind me, just blow right through it. And it doesn't matter if there's no cars. It doesn't matter. Like, you should just be stopping. Stop,
It's a habit
stop.
thing. A lot of people say that they cycle for exercise. Now, how dare you say that I have to slow down and stop because I'm busy exercising? But I'll tell you something. The best exercise in the world is going to be slowing down, stopping, and starting up again. It's that interval training.
And that too, and there's really good ways to do that. It's called gearing down, so you're not really interrupting your workout. You'll start pedaling again. It's frustrating, and I call out cyclists all the time on the road, and they're like shocked, and I'm like, oh, that was a really good stop you did there, and they're like, what? I'm like, because you didn't stop.
Do you know I actually issue tickets to cyclists? Yeah, it's amazing.
Honestly, good.
Yeah, I will issue tickets to anyone who breaks the rules. It's amazing how many people are shocked when you write a cyclist a ticket, and they're eligible for tickets just like any driver.
Yeah.
Here's a good thing. I've just seen some numbers spike up on TikTok, which suggests that maybe they've resolved the issues that were causing issues.
It looks better now.
It looks better now. Yeah. Awesome. If you've just joined us, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable at the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I go live Monday to Friday. Oh, mind you, it's Monday to Thursday this week, answering your traffic and police questions here on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We do this every day almost, and the goal is to answer your traffic and police questions so that you can make good decisions when you're behind the wheel or on a bicycle, as a matter of fact. Joining me in the studio today, I've got Erin Urquhart. She's a parking enforcement officer and media relations officer for the Toronto Police Parking Unit, and we are happy to answer questions about parking today too. Actually, we were doing it yesterday, so it's really really a unique and special thing. In fact, we're going to record an episode of TPS Traffic Jam, which is our podcast, right after this show wraps up. Do you think we should do it live and invite people into the room?
Sure,
we could do that. You're not afraid to have that live thing. So you could join us not on TikTok later. It'll just be on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. 8.3 seconds latency difference, by the way. Oh, that's the delay. So we're still delayed, but we're actually functioning. If you would be so kind as to hit that screen, double tap on TikTok, on Twitter, not Twitter. Mind you can follow us on Twitter. If you want to follow us on Twitter, where we announce where our Vision Zero enforcement team goes every day, you can do that at Traffic Services on Twitter. We're on Twitch at Traffic Services. We're Traffic Services Toronto Police on YouTube. We're on Facebook if anyone still uses that platform. And to the person who just asked, and I saw it stream by on the chat, are you related to Ben? Do I sound like Ben Shapiro? Do I look like Ben Shapiro? I don't know exactly how tall or short he is. However, I believe that he is a not so tall person. He has a lot more hair than I do. His voice is far higher pitched. I don't think we're related. Although you never know. I won't say no. I don't think so, but I don't know so.
I love that TikTok you did about that months ago. That was funny.
Yes, I said he has. I don't know if I said glorious hair, but he's got good hair. I got no hair. Mind you, I do shave my head by choice. I could have. Mind you, this is my hippie look right now. I got to shave it over the weekend. 4 days off. I'm looking forward to it. Is underglow illegal? I love doing that. That's my underglow button. Here it is. Who says legal? Who says legal? It's not. Oh, sorry, I said illegal, but it says is underglow legal. Thanks for correcting me, Q. I can rely on you to tell me when I say an oopsie-doo. Here's the deal. Underglow is not illegal, but it's not expressly legal either. It operates in this weird mix between the two. Sometimes, if it's installed incorrectly, it may cause you to get a ticket in other areas, not specifically underglow law, but headlight law, for instance. So many, the suggestion is don't use it on the road if you don't have to. And of course, it's just for silly fashion, not silly fashion. It's to look cool, and it's not 1983. But you can still use underglow if it's installed properly and only directed on the ground, creating glow, not projecting light sideways. If your bulbs are visible, it's going to be a problem. Q says boop the snoop, which is hit the screen on TikTok and Instagram. Share the YouTube video. We would love to have more followers, not because we get anything. We don't make money at this. We are paid members of the Toronto Police Service. We do this as part of our media relations and I was going to say consumer relations, but being available to answer questions to the public is a big thing for us. What is this? What if you get caught with automatic tint? Automatic tint? Like glasses that are automatically changing color? I've never seen that on a motor vehicle. I've seen powered tint. If you have tint that is not legal, it's not legal. And I don't know where we're going to be with automatic or electrified changing mutant tint. Okay. Are people allowed to drive with no headlights on in the city? I see people driving with just the running lights on. During the day, no problem. However, at night, the 5 people I pulled up beside and honked at until I could tell them that their lights were off because they were ghost cars. No taillights at all, just driving with their daytime runners. No, it's not legal. If it's at night, if it's a half an hour before sundown, you've got to have those headlights on. And if not, you can be charged $110. Likewise, you can get charged also for $110 for not having your rear taillights on or active. You can't just, wait till your brakes are illuminated to do it. What is this?
Side note, that's like a personal pet peeve of mine.
Which one?
Just the cars driving with no lights on at night. Oh,
yeah.
So dangerous.
It's annoying.
On the highway especially, yeah.
Anywhere. It's so dangerous. And people wonder, I don't know why I was rear-ended. Okay. Okay, what is this? What do you think about homeless encampments? I don't have an opinion. I mean, people need to be able to stay somewhere. So if they're helping people who need a hand to get back into the game, then that's great. But I don't have an opinion. I don't live next to one. I don't know how it is to do that or live in that environment. Are modified modified head tail lights? Head tail lights? You can't tint them. You can't make them less effective. They need to be effective, and to the tune of 150 meters. If they're not discernible at 150 meters, they're illegal. Tinted, blacked out headlights, same thing. You can't tint them or modify them. You can't cover them in any way. Is it illegal to hand? I had to double check because I was worried Q was going to tell me I misread it. Is it illegal to hang stuff on a rear view mirror? You can't obscure a driver's vision. So if you're hanging stuff on the rear view mirror and that makes it difficult or it's in the way of your ability to clearly see the road, then that is illegal and you can be charged for having an obstructed view. How many brake lights and working taillights do you need? 1. You must have 1 functioning brake light. In terms of taillights, it would be the same thing. 1 functioning. That doesn't. So if you had 2 that were maybe not functioning at the proper light requirement to be discernible at 150, as long as 1 of them was, you'd technically be legal. Apparently, we've got some spam going on. It's not enough that we had problems with connectivity today. It doesn't matter that we had issues with TikTok. Now we have people who are trying to be disruptive. Well, please don't. We have volunteers, not paid members, not police officers, volunteers helping us out in the chat, and they want to let you know that you're annoying them and no one else. Actually, you're probably annoying everybody else in the chat who wants to get their questions answered, and you're just in the way. So, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. tps.on.ca/careers. We are hiring, and you might want to become a member of this magical place called Toronto Police. We're a fantastic organization to work for. I have had the benefit, the privilege of being a volunteer member as an auxiliary officer. I was a court officer because I was having so much fun not getting paid. I decided to do it as a full-time member as a court officer. I did both of those together for about 12 years, roughly 12 years. 12 years as an auxiliary. I left for a short time as a court officer, came back and did it again. So I traded in 2 uniforms the day that I became a police officer, and I've never looked back. I love the people that I used to work with, both as a volunteer and as a court officer, but I wanted to become a police officer, and I did. So am I saying you need to do what I did? No. But there are many different ways to serve your community and many different ways to make a living. This is the career that is constantly changing. So I was an auxiliary sergeant. I was an auxiliary PC. I was a supervisor in courts. I was a court officer. I did everything. And you know what? I did a lot of different things. Now, you could be a police officer, work as a divisional officer, you go work in a drug squad, you can go, potentially work undercover, or work in traffic, that magical place that happens to be where I work. And you can get tired of something and change your entire job function without changing your career. Still a police officer. Anyway, more on that when someone asks me a question. Do you patrol the streets? At the moment, I do not. I was injured in a motorcycle collision a number of years ago, and I've been working on recovery, and I hope to one day return to the streets. I miss the road. A, it's a lot of fun, and B, I actually like helping people. It's what I signed up for. So it's my goal to be back on the street, but in the meantime, I'm doing what I can do here, which has turned into something really cool. I'm really happy with the fact that we're here on social media talking to you. What happened in the Toronto about the hit and run? So if you check out our on YouTube, or there's a link to it on Twitter, even on TikTok, I put a video with details, which is basically we're asking for help, because at about 3:16 in the morning, Toronto police were called with reports of a woman who had been hit. There was a woman lying in the street who had been seriously injured as a result of being hit by a motor vehicle. So we are now trying to locate the vehicle and driver that struck her and fled the scene. She's in hospital. I don't know any details beyond that other than serious injuries. And we're looking for what might be a dark colored or black Mercedes. I don't know beyond that. I'm just going for what was said by Sergeant Campbell at the scene when he addressed the media, which is the video that I've now watched several times. So it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. It's only because I was listening to him tell us all about it. Beyond that, it's a very scary situation. You know, someone who was just trying to get to where they were trying to go and got hit by someone who then took off and left them in a horrible state. Very sad. My brother took a picture of you and him yesterday. Yes, I met your brother, and I think I saw him this morning again. So very cool. It was nice meeting him, and maybe one day we'll meet you. All right, let's have a look-see what's going on here. Other questions. Are light bars legal? Light bars are legal for off-road. Most light bars are not going to be legal for on-road use. In fact, you can only have 4 illuminated headlights. That's lights that project more than 300 lumens of light on at one time. So if you have an off-road light bar and you have more than 4 bulbs in total, and those bulbs aren't properly directed, you may end up getting a charge. Any questions for parking?
I actually just saw one.
I like that.
You
That's good.
mentioned it. Someone asked, is it illegal to park on your own lawn? So actually, yes, in the city of Toronto, the bylaw prohibits parking of vehicles on the landscaped areas of properties, both public and private. So I wouldn't ticket for that, though. However, I believe Toronto city bylaw would have to come in and ticket for that. We're not going to come on your personal property and ticket for that, but
We're not camping out beside their house?
no.
Because we don't do that for stunt driving either.
Yeah.
It's something we can enforce, but it has to be, I shouldn't say it has to be. We'd have to witness it and see what's going on. Here's a question. What's going on this weekend for parking?
So, actually, I'm going to be posting about this later today. So, it is the long weekend for the Easter long weekend. So, if you're lucky enough to get tomorrow and Monday off, if you work Monday to Friday, it is under holiday enforcement. So, Friday, Sunday, and Monday, pay and display areas are all free on street in the city of Toronto, and any sign stipulated that's Monday to Friday, except public holidays, are you can park there as well. But every other bylaw is still up for grabs to ticket. So no parking zones, no stopping zones, no standing zones. Still have to obey all those signs. But as for green peed metered areas on street, they are free. So take advantage of that.
Awesome. That's always good. I love free parking.
Yeah.
Free stuff is good.
Yeah.
It promotes people coming into the city, spending time here, and you know what? Everything's so expensive these days. Getting a break from the city for free parking is really nice. So thank you, city. Is it legal to cycle on city sidewalks? If you mean City of Toronto, then the answer is only if you are under the age of 14. So if you're 13 or younger, a child, and no offense to anyone who's 13, get classified as a child today. For the purposes of riding a bicycle, they can ride on the sidewalk. Nobody else can. It used to be based on diameter of tire. People got smart and bought tiny tired bicycles, kids' bikes. Effectively, they did, and then started riding on the road sidewalks legally, and that changed because sidewalks are for pedestrians. They are. James McDonald wants to know, what about my motorcycle parking in the GTA? Do they pay?
No. So we've also talked about this a number of times on your live, and I've done videos on this. So yeah, no. In Toronto, I'm not sure about other cities or municipalities, you do not have to pay for parking with on-street metered areas, but you can still get a ticket if you put your motorcycle in a no parking zone or a sidewalk.
So you have to follow the rules, but you get free parking and pay and display. Now, if you go to a Green Pea parking lot, that's not covered. You are not allowed to park there for free, right?
I'm not sure, but I would believe so. Because,
I'm pretty sure, as a
yeah.
motorcycle guy, I'm pretty sure, and someone who works at Green Pea who's watching could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's only pay and display on the road. I don't think you can pay.
Yeah,
park for
I would
free.
assume so, because considering people with accessible permits who get free parking as well, they still have to pay
In a Green Pea.
in Green Pea
Yeah.
lots. Yes.
They got to pay the bills. Clayton wants to know: is it illegal to drive with a trailer hitch on and no trailer attached to it? So that's when you put the ball in the receiver, or the ball into the receiver. Or is it called a tongue into the? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of different things. And if you're driving around with a trailer hitch attached and no trailer to it, it's not a ticket that we would lay. However, we've heard stories where people have been rear-ended, and it changed the dynamics of the collision, and the insurance company could turn around and then say, you know what, you destroyed your frame because of your negligence of using a trailer hitch when it wasn't required. That's going to be between you and the insurance company. From our perspective, it is not illegal to drive around with your trailer hitch installed. Okay. We have questions about tires. How far can they extend from the fender? And the deal is they can't. You're not allowed to have oversized tires. You have to have a fender or combination of mud flap covering that tire for it to be legal. Now, we are not running around chasing everybody down who has tires that are extended, because our focus is being on the big four. But that's not to say that you're free and able to do that legally. You might get a ticket for it. So use caution, and you shouldn't be doing it. Wide body kits are available for that very reason. You want to prevent rooster tails, which is when the water flies up and blinds people when it's all over their car. Additionally, you don't want to be throwing up rocks and stuff. On top of that, if you were to come into contact with a pedestrian, having those exposed tires does very, very nasty things to the human body, and it is one of the reasons it's not legal. Let's see here. A very good question, actually. Anthony wants to know, hi, officer, I have a question. What happens if I get caught, or if you get caught, driving without insurance? What happens? So this happens all the time. We find people who forgot to pay, never, planned on paying, all sorts of different situations. However, they have no insurance on their vehicle. So first off, you can't drive. The charge that is laid is going to be drive motor vehicle, no insurance, or on road, no insurance. Is the wording on road? I can't remember the wording now. In any case, it is. It has the potential of up to 6 months in jail and fines that range from $5,000 to $25,000 for your first conviction. So if you keep doing it, obviously that can go up. Don't do it. It's not worth it. People think they're saving money, and what they're doing is setting themselves up for a lifetime of debt when they hurt someone or kill someone and are sued, and it is personal. Let's see here. Why do people always drive 140 to 160 on the Gardner, asks Rob Baker. I don't know if they always do, but certainly we had 14, I believe, over the last 3 days, stunt drivers who were stopped and charged, had their vehicles impounded for 14 days, lost their licenses for 30, and I don't even want to know what their insurance rates are going to be after this. Even if they're not convicted, the insurance company is going to look at that suspension and know exactly what they did. And there's no excuse. There's no defense for doing 40 or 50 over the speed limit. It's disgusting behavior, and you're putting lives at risk, not only everyone else's, but yours. Hey, my name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police officer in Toronto. With me is Erin Urquhart. She's a parking enforcement officer here. We both do this media thing, and if you're not already following our channel, you should be, because we do this Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., answer your traffic and police questions and parking questions on occasion. And Erin has her own TikTok. It is TPS_bike That's her personal or her individual officer account, and then there's Parking TPS.
Yes.
And that's all social media platforms. You can find her and see all sorts of stuff, and even videos occasionally of your dog, right?
Yes, actually I made his own TikTok, actually.
Your dog has that's
yes,
good.
Yes, and he actually has a viral video, so that was cool.
Awesome.
I did have a parking question here I could answer quickly.
Good, because I can't answer it.
Somebody asked, at what time can you not park in the street? I'm assuming on the street. So the city bylaw bylaw, if there's no signage, is no longer than 3 hours, which we only enforce upon complaint for the most part. And other, like in Scarborough, for instance, there's a bylaw, no parking between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., I believe. And I actually know a lot of friends who get those tickets who are like, tell your friends to stop.
Hey, you know what? I want to tell my friends. And I've been telling everybody is don't speed. Actually, don't break any of the highway traffic laws, but don't speed in Toronto. Speed Kills is the campaign that's currently being run in the city of Toronto, and we are very strictly enforcing Highway Traffic Act offenses, specifically speeding, but also aggressive driving, distracted driving, obviously stunt driving. So what are we doing? We do what we do every day, which is make the roads safer through education and enforcement. You got the education right now, but when you break the rules on the road, it's the enforcement side that stops you. And we have the magical folks with the Vision Zero enforcement team who they don't give out hugs, they give out tickets. Question is aftermarket, but not too loud. Is the not too loud exhaust legal? If your exhaust system is legal and complies with regulations, then it is legal, and whether it's aftermarket or not. Obviously, if it's louder than necessary, it may be too loud, and thus find yourself getting a ticket under the Highway Traffic Act for unnecessary noise. But guess what? You can get a ticket for having a loud stereo, squeaky tires when you're burning rubber, which is also stunt, by the way. You can also have, whether it be defect or behavior, making noise from your vehicle is illegal if it's not necessary. And even though it may be fun, that is not necessary. Okay. What's the timing between M1 and M2? You know what? I no longer remember the details of this. I would suggest going to the drivetest.ca website. So when you get your M1, it used to be good for 90 days before you can get your M2. And there was, I think, actually, that's good for 90 days, but I think you could actually go for it after 60 days if you took a course. The fact is, I don't remember the details. I actually got it was a 70-day permit when I got my learner's permit for motorcycle. Q says 60 days. So I think mine was good for 70 days in total, and some people just renewed them forever, and other people like myself got my M license like in 2 weeks. Q says you must ride under the restrictions of an M1 for at least 60 days before upgrading to the M2, M2L, M2M licenses. And if I remember correctly, when you take a course, you can take the test right away, but you can't submit the paperwork until you've hit 60 days. Good things to know. But if you're interested in getting into the wonderful hobby and skill set of motorcycling, and I say it's a skill set, it's not just driving. It's a fantastic hobby. I love it. I ride motorcycle, although I haven't been on a bike in a number of years because of my collision. I think it's the best way to move. I love it. But take a course. Do yourself a favor, take a course. When I got my license, I didn't take a course. I was 16. I had a lot of stupid ideas about courses and money, and I actually was filling up at a gas station. Another motorcycle came in. What do motorcycle people do? They talk. He was a motorcycle instructor, and we rode to a close-by parking lot, and he showed me some stuff, and I'm like, I had no idea. I rode a bicycle. I figured it's the same thing. Well, there's a lot that's different between motorcycles and bicycles. So he gave me some pointers, and I ended up taking a course later on. But push turning, what's a push turn? Well, if you don't know what a push turning is, you don't rely on YouTube. Go and take a course. It'll change your life, make you safer, and get you discounts on insurance. Can you get a prescription for window tint? Not in Ontario. No, you cannot. No windshield tint, no window tint. But you know what? Let's talk about tint. Because we haven't talked about tint today. In Ontario, you can have no more than 30% light blockage on the windows left and right of a driver. You can have as much as you want on the back, but none of them, at least none of them, I'm going to correct myself. The windows left and right of the driver cannot be reflective. Now, you can have nothing on the front windshield, save and except for vehicles that are manufactured before 2017. They can have 3 inches or 75 millimeters, which is the same, from the top to the PS1 line or whatever happens first. That's it. But no prescriptions. Oh, I hit the wrong button. No prescriptions. That doesn't give you any benefit here. Some jurisdictions might. You know what? If your eyes are sensitive, wear sunglasses. That way you can change the amount of tint that you are dealing with based on the environment, outside. If you are driving at night and you cannot see because of your tint, it's dangerous. And guess what? When your tint is beyond the legal limits, you can get your license plates removed because your vehicle is deemed unsafe. You're actually violating the light truck and passenger vehicle guidelines that are for safety. So if your vehicle's unsafe, we will take your plates It's not just a $110 ticket. If it's done properly, you lose your license plates. Can I buy a motorcycle with an M1? Yes, you can. You can buy a motorcycle without a license. You can buy a car without a license. Operating a motor vehicle is different than owning one. Okay. Moto Windsor says, from a stop, can I get a ticket for getting up to speed limit too quickly on my motorcycle? It really depends on just like James McDonald responded to you on YouTube, it depends on the observations of an officer. If I see people jumping out of the way because of the way you're driving, that is beyond that of simply accelerating quickly. It may turn into stunt racing, depending on if I see another vehicle trying to keep up with you. Now it's a race. It's, again, interpretations of the officer. It doesn't matter what you said you were doing because no one says, yeah, I was racing that guy. I've never seen that guy before in my life. You may never have. But, it's all based on the observations of the officer. Is stunt driving legal on private property? I don't know who's passing a kidney stone down the hall, but that was interesting. Stunt driving is not legal on private property in the province of Ontario. Back in September of 2021, the Highway Traffic Act was amended, and now jurisdiction, or at least the ability to lay the charge of stunt driving, is now an option on private property. Was it intended for your backyard? Actually, yeah, because they listed just about every potential piece of property option under the sun. Farms, fields, garages, above ground, below, like everywhere. So don't stunt drive. You want to go take it to the track. Tracks are specifically set up and exempt from the law. Racetracks and permitted events, meaning the city has said you can do this, like movie shoots or IndyCar racing. That's different. Can we practice bike stunts on private property? No, you cannot. You can't. It's all the same thing. Now, we're not hanging out in the bushes on your lawn waiting for you to do something. Will you get caught? Maybe, but we're not hanging out looking at everybody. Usually it comes in relation to a report. Your neighbor is saying you're doing stupid things in your lawn. You might get stupid tickets. Let's see here. If you ask a question in the chat, you know that you're most likely going to get an answer in the chat. And it's going to be from a moderator, not me, because I don't read the chat. If you ask questions in the Q&A, that is where I spend my time, and that's where I answer questions. Okay. Bailey-Ann, I don't know how to say your name. Is it illegal to have tinted taillights? And the answer is yes-ish. It depends on how dark they are, but ultimately anything you do to make them less functional will result in a ticket because they have to be discernible at 150 meters, and that is going to be judged based on someone other than yourself. Why would you want to make your vehicle look cool as someone drives into you because your brake lights were ineffective? You must have at least one functioning taillight. Well, it functions the way it's supposed to. How long is the shortened G test in place for? I don't know how long they'll keep it going, but I'm sure they still have a backlog that they're trying to work through. Check with the ministry. I just don't have an answer for you. I think they'll keep it going as long as it makes sense. They've reduced the timing of the test by about 30% by removing duplications, things that you already passed for your G2, so that you don't have to do it for your G, which kind of makes sense. But you know what? I think we're a little soft on driver tests here. A lot of people who are upset about all the tickets that we're issuing in the city of Toronto during our Speed Kills campaign are saying, well, what about the Autobahn? Well, I'll tell you something. Europe, it's harder to get a license than it is here, like way harder. And they have better drivers as a result of it because people who can't do what is expected don't drive. It's just that simple. Any advice on transporting airsoft equipment in a car? Yeah, put it in a bag. If you're carrying an airsoft rifle, put it in a rifle bag. When you take out the big old plastic gun that people don't know is a plastic gun, armed officers respond, and then you find these gunpoint arrests taking place, and it's not fun to be handcuffed face down in the dirt. So I would suggest making sure that you're not creating a public panic when you're transporting things. And if you're stopped, let the officer know what's there. Don't let them find it and freak out and think. There was a guy who went to the subway. Did you hear about this? Went to the subway station at Union Station carrying an M60 replica airsoft gun. Do you think it caused a problem? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I can't even go there.
Yeah.
Can you have a dog in your passenger seat? In your passenger seat is just fine. in terms of legally. It can't be on your lap because that would be careless driving or driving while crowded, which is another charge under the Highway Traffic Act. In terms of the passenger seat, it's not suggested. We suggest backseat and tethered for any, or crated. I remember the word crate. We couldn't remember it yesterday. The reason being is, in the event of a collision, airbags tend to kill animals and injure small children. However, backseat is safe for small children and animals. And the reason we say tether is because in the event of a collision, they become a projectile. And even if they weren't injured in the collision itself, after the collision was finalized and everything stopped, if the windows were broken, dog might become free, might lunge at someone who's trying to save you, might prevent you from being helped if you need help. So these are the things we suggest. Is there a limit to your headlight brightness? Yes, and I can't remember the number. It's either 8 or 10,000 Kelvin, which is actually color temperature, so there might be another number. And if our friend and moderator Neon is here, he would likely throw up the number onto the screen because he has an upset stomach. But throwing up never seems to come out of in words properly. Is it true that most cops won't chase motorcycles? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on the charge, the risk to public safety. There is not a specific speed or type of vehicle that we are precluded from chasing. If someone is wanted for murder, if there's lives at risk, yeah, we're going to chase people that may otherwise think they're going to get away with it. And people who ran a stop sign and decide to put lives at risk, maybe we're going to just meet you at your house later because we have your license plate already, because I don't turn the lights on unless I know what you look like and know what your vehicle's looking like. So, it's we play chess, not checkers here. What is this? Do I need to have a driver's license to drive a car? I would hope you know the answer to that already. You might be going down a road that I'm very familiar with, but yes, you do need a license to drive a car, and you need to have the appropriate license to drive the appropriate vehicle. In Ontario, a G-Class license would cover you for a G-Class car. If it's a truck of a certain... actually, that's most vehicles, trucks. There's a lot of vehicles you can drive with a G. I wonder if G stands for general or if it's just like the random letter they chose.
That's a good question. I always thought about that.
Any parking questions coming on?
I thought I saw one earlier, but I lost it. Not a lot. I feel like there's more parking questions when people can see me on here.
I think there's more parking questions when you're not here. It's like an umbrella. If you have an umbrella, there's
Murphy's
no rain.
Law, right?
Yeah, but that's okay.
I saw it. Well, it wasn't a parking question, but you could answer this too, and then I could just, I don't know, sprinkle my expertise on it. Someone was saying or asking, do cyclists have to ride in the same direction of traffic? Yes.
Yes, they do.
Unless it's a contraflow.
I was just going to say,
yeah.
There are special lanes that have signage to say it's a counterflow. Is contraflow or counterflow?
I call it a contraflow because it's a contradicting.
I think that's what it's called.
I guess.
But then I question myself.
Contraflow, yeah, I believe it's contraflow, and there are quite a few of those downtown actually. So yeah, unless it's actually permitted with the contraflow, then yes, you would want to be going the same direction as traffic, in my opinion. So you're not having a car head-on with you collision. Yeah.
Head-on collisions are not
fun. No, don't recommend.
James McDonald wants to know what the penalty is for parking in a handicap spot, accessible spot.
Accessible spot, yes. So that's $450.
Wait.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, that's not a ticket that I actually had a funny experience yesterday. I took my kids to a park. It was a park that was attached to a school, not in the city of Toronto, actually. And where the kids are playing in the park. I'm supervising. I look up. Supervising, I was on TikTok answering your questions. Sorry, honey. So I was answering questions and comments on TikTok. I look up, and I saw people like surrounding my car, and I'm like, what's going on here? They were standing in front of it, and someone had a radio, and there was a bunch of people. It was a crowd, not a crowd, about 3-4 people. And I went, you know what? I didn't put my accessible permit on my dash.
Oh no!
So everyone was running to make sure that no one would leave. They were becoming a human shield for my truck that was unoccupied. But I went by and said, "Hi, that's mine. There's a permit inside. Let me show you."
Oh,
and everyone calmed down. But they were like really serious. And you know what? I would be too. I am so against folks who abuse the accessible permits. It is not okay. And I think I've mentioned it before. I wouldn't use an accessible permit on a day that I feel good. Happened to be that I was not feeling so good, so I did use it. But I thought it was really cool. It's cool to see people take things seriously when people are breaking the law. And I didn't display it. I would have been eligible for a ticket.
Well, it's a good thing you went back and put it up.
I figured I was 10 feet away from my car, and I figured it out. And obviously police hadn't arrived yet, so they called off. That would have been really embarrassing.
Crisis averted. Yeah.
Yes.
Did anyone recognize you? And they're like, oh.
I was wearing a disguise. I had the mustache on. No, they didn't recognize me. I was waiting. I'm like, shouldn't you know better? No, they didn't say that. And I should have known better. And the reason it wasn't there, because it usually lives on my dash, but it wasn't there because my kids wanted to have the windows open, and I was worried it was going to fly away.
Yeah.
And so I put it under my visor. Okay. Okay, we covered that. Why are some new ASE not in the city speed cam map? Automated speed enforcement cameras actually move. They're not permanently affixed, and they move them around. So when there are, maybe they haven't updated the website. I don't know. That is not a program that we run as the police. That is a program run entirely by the City of Toronto. Yeah. Let me find another question here.
Yeah, there's a lot now.
Now there's a lot? Are they all parking related?
Okay, there's one here I don't even understand. So should I just read it anyways? Can I park at your house during the X? Like, does this mean like the exhibition? And whose house?
That's a pretty...
Our house? Like the
you cannot
services house?
Let's make an assumption. You can't just park in someone's driveway.
Yeah, you got to take
randomly, because as the property owner or tenant, I can call and say, hey, this is not mine, get it out of here, and I can pay to have it removed. Now, I do have to pay to have it taken off my driveway, right?
Yes. So yeah, usually we would do driveway obstructs, but someone who parks like right in your driveway, which does happen, especially in like private property areas, condo buildings, happens all the time. Don't do that. It's very inconsiderate.
Well, it's disgusting, actually.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
What makes you think you have the right to take up someone's driveway space?
I would probably clean my garage at that point and store everything on top of that car.
That
would just be me.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then
I probably should. That's probably not something I should suggest, but
don't do that.
don't do what I just said.
And someone asked, can I stop in a no parking zone? So if you're pulling over in a no parking zone to, I don't know, check your phone, make a delivery, generally yes, because in a no parking zone, if you're sitting in the car, I would ask you to move first. I'm not just going to come up to your car and slap a ticket on your windshield in a no parking zone. However, in a no stopping zone, I could do that.
Bingo, bango. Can you get a plate for a dirt bike? The answer is no. Although I saw one yesterday when I was driving around, and they had no proper signals. It was very much a dirt bike that had, I think, slick tires put on aftermarket. Well, they were slick tires. I don't think it was an Enduro that just had their nothing was right on this vehicle for it to be on the road. And I think it was two-stroke. It just stank. In any case, they drove right past a York Regional Police vehicle, and they didn't get pulled over. And I was really disappointed because I thought they should have been investigated. Just saying.
That's funny. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, dirt bikes are off-road only. There are steps that can be taken for some vehicles to make them enduro, attaching the appropriate equipment. But it's not just that. It's actually Canada Safety I think it's Transport Canada has to authorize it.
Okay, yeah, because I've seen it looks like a dirt bike, but it has a license plate.
And those are usually dual-purpose bikes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there are bikes that are constructed or designed specifically for dual purpose, and then there are really aggressive dirt bikes that have no business being on the road.
Gotcha.
They don't even have headlights; like they're dirt bikes.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Can I kneel in a no standing zone? And Kayla wants to know if Rob owns a kneeling bus. It's pretty specific.
Yeah.
Turning right into 2 lanes, oncoming left advance. How do you turn right into 2 lanes? I'm not sure. Are you talking about turning 2 right turn lanes? Can you make, like you're getting off the highway, there's 2 right turn lanes. Can you make a right on red there? I need more information.
Like an advanced right turn? Because I know what I feel like I know what they're talking about.
I don't feel like I know what Cindy wants to know. But I want to help you, Cindy. I do. I just don't understand the question. Give me more. Is lane splitting legal in Ontario? No, it's not. It can be considered careless driving, depending on the interpretation of the officer, but it is not something legal. Los Angeles does allow lane splitting, not here. We don't have roads that are wide enough. And have you seen how some people drive in the city of Toronto or in the GTA? Like, I would not lane split. No, not a good idea. We just lost Instagram. Instagram said goodbye. Instagram gives us 1 hour because the folks that seem to run that company don't realize who we are. They just haven't verified us yet, and then we can go longer. And yet every other platform says, come talk, we love you. Hey, it's Giancarlo Morelli. Uh-oh. Yes, we're live on the internet, and my old partner just walked in, who probably doesn't want to be on the internet, but it just happened. What's happening, my friend?
Not much. Are you?
Not bad. We're actually wrapping up, but it's 11 o'clock. It's that time. But we've got a couple questions. Maybe you can answer one.
Sure, why not? While I'm here.
Actually, here's a question for Aaron before we go to you. Can you get towed for having multiple parking tickets? It's a great question.
Yes, you can. Our policy recently changed, I believe, during COVID. So before it used to be 3 tickets or more that you've done nothing with in over 90 days. So meaning you haven't paid them, you haven't appealed them. They've just been kind of sitting there, the ticket's just sitting on your dresser or something. You forgot about it. So now it is 10 or more tickets that you have done absolutely nothing with. Then you will get automatically towed if you are found parked illegally on the
Scoff
street.
law.
Scoff law.
It sounds like
right.
some kind of British music invasion.
Yes, scoff law. Okay, I'm terrible at accents. Never again.
There's a question that just popped in, and it was really good. Let me see here. No, I don't know where it is. Oh, as an adult, are you required to wear a bicycle helmet? And that was actually a question I thought would be good for you since you are a cyclist extraordinaire.
Yes, actually, and there was another question saying, can I get ticketed if I'm not wearing a helmet if I'm 16 years old? So you can answer that.
Well, so the deal is that if you were under the age of 18, you are legally required to wear a helmet. And that's provincially. It's not just in the city of Toronto. If you were under the age of 16, well, then your guardian, your parent or adult supervisor is responsible for you. If you're 16 or 17, you get the ticket yourself.
Oh, okay, yeah, good to know.
Yeah, same with seatbelts. If you're 16, you get your ticket. If you're 15 or below, the driver gets the ticket.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad. It comes with points.
I did not know that. But yeah, and also highly recommend a helmet at all times, whether you're,
protect the computer.
Protect your noggin, yes. And I've myself, on my personal time, actually, I've been riding a bike without a helmet, and I have flipped over the handlebars. And sure enough, there was police and TTC right across the street because it was, and they came to and I'm like, I am on my way to traffic services.
Yes.
I should know better. They're like, yeah, you should, but you're okay. I was okay.
Did they make fun of you a lot?
They kind of laughed, but they were just like, we're just glad you're okay. But definitely wore a helmet after that. Lesson learned. Even though I am an adult, I have the choice.
Yeah, protect the computer is a good choice.
Make the right choice.
I can't go without a helmet, even if it's around the block, because my kids will never let me live it down. They're like, Daddy. Rob Baker wants to know, can I get a DUI on rollerblades? So under the Criminal Code of Canada, in order to get charged for DUI, you have to be using a motor vehicle. Motor vehicle is anything other than muscular power, which would make rollerblades not eligible for a charge of for that. But an e-bike, although not considered a motor vehicle under the legislation, does qualify under the Canadian Criminal Code. Thus, you can be arrested on an e-bike for impaired operation.
But not on a pedal power bicycle.
Not on a pedal power bicycle. But you can get public intoxication charges.
That's different.
Can police do speed checks without any lights on? I don't know what that means.
Like without your red and blues on?
Like, can we speed and check if? No, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
The way the question is worded, I don't understand it. Can we speed without any lights on? Yes. Can we pull you over without lights on? Well, we don't pull people over if we don't have lights on our vehicle, generally speaking. Could we? I'm sure we could somehow, possibly, if we could communicate, like, hey, pull over, and giving you a ticket. Yeah, we could. What is this? Hey, here's one for you there, Giancarlo.
Oh, it's been summoned.
The question is,
how is Twitter world and internet world doing?
When are they increasing the speed limits on highways?
Well, they've approved the 403.
That's like the 16-kilometer stretch. It's a small.
QEW between like Hamilton and Niagara Falls to 110. and somewhere on the 400, I believe it is. Yeah, so that is a good city question. That is definitely not a police question.
Well, it's actually provincially. We don't set the well. Cities do set their I think
Yes.
their city speed limits, but we're not increasing our speed limits. We're decreasing them. Vision Zero talks about the fact that the faster you go, the more serious your damage and injury when collisions happen. And we also understand and acknowledge collisions do happen, and they're pretty much going to happen. You know, it's part of the whole deal of putting gazillion people on the road and expecting them to all cooperate. What's not acceptable, what is totally preventable, are serious collisions resulting in serious injury and death. So that's why we're slowing people down.
Actually, there's a few years ago, Toronto has decreased their speed limits all by 10 kilometers, right? So
And so we've even gone down to 30-kilometer-an-hour zones for entire areas.
residential for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah,
So it doesn't matter. So you should always definitely drive within your means and your capability, and also making sure that the weather conditions as well. So even though it says maximum ton, like 50 or 40, whatever it is, make sure you're driving within that.
Well, when I was taught that when it rains, you reduce your speed by 10 kilometers minimum because you drive for the conditions. And if you can't just say the speed limit is 60, I'm going to do 60, and then as you slide into the car in front of you, how fast were you going? I was going 60. Well, why? It's raining. It's slippery. It's snowing. It's icy. Why would you go? You are still going to be responsible for that collision. People just shock me sometimes with the logic or lack of logic. Like the people who choose to do 20, 30, or 40 over the limit and go, I don't know, I got in the collision because you were speeding.
Yeah.
And people who say that speed doesn't kill, well, the Clarkson quote is always, that's the rapid deceleration or the sudden stop that kills you. There's so much more that goes into it. Let's see here. Why is there a presumption of guilt for stunt driving? Do you know that one? This is the question. Is there a presumption of guilt? No, there are certain consequences for being caught stunt driving roadside. But in terms of presumption of guilt, you can still go to court and you can still argue. Now, there is a 14-day impound and a 30-day suspension roadside when you're caught for those things, just as the same as if you were caught with impaired driving and failed a test. There would be an impound and suspension roadside. But the guilt is still going to be when it comes to court, and you'd have the ability of challenging it in court. If you are found guilty of there's obviously criminal for impaired operation, but when you come to a guilty consequence in court for stunt driving, there are additional suspensions, 1 to 3 years for your first conviction, charges or fines that range from $1,000 to $10,000. I mean, that's the guilt. There's certainly immediate consequences for being stopped.
Now,
And
is it because of the provincial stuff like highway traffic act, you're pretty much guilty until innocent or proven innocent.
there's reverse onus.
Reverse onus for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also, what's the other terminology I'm looking for? 100% liability. It's called what's the word for it? It's
Liability- no, that's
something liability. It's I can't just write. You know what? I should know this, and I do know this. It's just stuck somewhere in the recesses of my mind. I thought he was going to answer it, so it's all his fault. Absolute liability. It's an absolute liability offense. So that's what we're talking about. It's not reverse onus. It's not actually presumption of guilt. It's absolute liability. Can tow truck operators use their mobile device? Can they use their cell phone while they're driving?
no.
No. There's only very few people who are exempt under the Highway Traffic Act for handheld communication devices. That's going to be your police, fire, ambulance operators, people who are using police, fire, and ambulance vehicles. Additionally, amateur radio operators, the people who have their ham radio license are exempt from that rule.
Also, transit, I believe, as well is included.
Transit, there are specific, there's a bunch. The truth is, if you are someone who's exempt, you're going to know who you are. Because if you're not, you're going to be sweating when we pull you over. It's $615. Comes with, is it 3 demerit points still for
3
the
demerit
first
points,
first
first
conviction?
offense, 3-day suspension, and then goes from same amount of money, it can go up to $2,000 second offense, 7-day suspension, and 6 points, and then your third time is 30-day suspension of your license, 6 points again, and up to $3,000.
You know what?
I'll tell you right now, I had about 8 cell phones within about a matter of 2 hours that I got this morning.
You laid 8 cell phone charges today?
This morning.
Wow.
I believe it.
It's amazing to me how many people, like I remember it was $125 when it first came out.
$155.
155? Why do I think maybe it was 125 plus victim fine surcharge?
Probably.
Maybe. For whatever reason, 125 sticks out of my head. It's a long time ago because it has not been 125 or 155 in forever. And people
Over
just paid to play at that point. They're like, whatever. But now it's $615.
Yeah.
Hopefully that dissuades people because it's super dangerous. Super dangerous. Distraction. I was talking to Robin and Karen from Turf on our first 2 episodes of the podcast, and we talked about the fact that daydreaming is a form of distraction.
Yes.
And daydreaming, you don't have the phone to blame. You're just off in your own world. And I can't say I've ever laid a daydreaming ticket, but the consequence of just not being focused on driving, never mind texting mom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
It's wild. It's wild.
The problem is that
wild.
we get too relaxed in what we do, right? It's same route you take to work every day, and it just your mind starts to wander. So it's you have to be present when you are driving because
how many people get they were off in their own their mind stranded in thought, and they get to the stop sign like, where am I? How did I get here?
I've totally done that.
Where did the last 10 minutes
I
go?
can't remember what it is, and I used to do the presentation all the time at Sunnybrook, and I remember that.
It's amazing. Fan Cargo says, have a happy and safe Easter. Yeah. Oh, Akela Draconis, and thank you very much. As I'm multitasking here, and I don't know how I got to the next question. Anyone calling 911 is also exempt for using your cell phone. Absolutely, you're right.
Emergency.
In an emergency, calling 911.
Emergency has to be like house is burning down.
I thought it was I forgot to feed the dog.
That doesn't.
I pulled someone over who was calling their spouse to tell them to feed the dog because they forgot. That does not qualify as an emergency. However, calling police because of a suspected impaired driver, calling police because you just witnessed a collision, something that is urgent.
Crime, yeah.
Yeah, crime in progress, things like that. But here's the deal. We can actually see your telephone records, in those situations. We can request that information. We can look at your phone as proof. Did you call 911? We can call 911 and say, did they call you? Like, there's ways of verifying your information. So just saying I can call 911 to get out of a ticket doesn't cut it. Okay. Let's see here. This is a question about, can a retired police car get sold with the chip? What chip is that? Is it the one that makes the fly? I don't know what kind of chip we're talking about. The question was, can police hide with all lights off to catch Hey, can you have unmarked vehicles that don't announce?
I don't know. Can I?
We might have vehicles that don't say police on them that have lights that you could be sitting
like regular cars
in front of you. Yeah, like a Chevette.
You know how many times actually I got challenged on that? They're like, "Oh, that's not fair. You're not allowed to have that." I'm like,
Fair? Fair?
Yeah, it's not fair.
You have to be fair. You have to tell people, I'm here. Don't pass me quickly.
Yeah. Put your phone away, please.
Here's the deal. Well, first of all, people who are distracted don't see you. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter. I used to be on a police motorcycle knocking on their window to get their attention. Yeah. They're completely focused on what they're doing and not focused at all on driving. But hiding in plain sight, I don't put rocks on my hood to avoid being detected. However, we don't have to. I used to stand on the street with a yellow vest on, and people would be speeding up to me. First of all, we get your speed before you're close enough to even identify me, but or anything because you're off in the distance. At the end of the day, don't speed. Don't break the law. There's no fair in this game. We're going to catch you. That's the game. We win. and we don't win a free toaster or get commission, as many of the people were asking in the last couple of days, but the videos we've been putting out about all the tickets we've been writing. There's no prize, but there's also no quota. My boss says I can write as many tickets as I want. Just to recap, because this is now day 4 of the Speed Kills campaign, and I've got the stats for yesterday, which was day 3. It's funny how day 4, day 3, I'm doing math here. 654 tickets were issued in the city of Toronto for speeding. 4 of those were stunt driving. So that would have been something, whether it be 40 kilometers over a speed limit that is under 80 kilometers an hour, or 50 kilometers over a speed limit that is 80 or more kilometers an hour, or 150 kilometers an hour, period. You could be, even if the road was 150, well, we don't have any 110 kilometer roads, but if we did, 150, which is only 40 over, would still be stunt driving. There's other things that could qualify for stunt, but we're talking about
Can I add something to that quickly?
You most certainly
Sorry
can.
to cut you off there, but a lot of our stunt that we're getting a lot of people in the 50 zone. So people doing 90 plus and a 50 kilometer.
Right,
So it's almost double the speed limit. We got one person this morning doing 101 and a 50. So
Wow.
that's-
I think I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, that's correct.
Hey, want to see stuff on Twitter? Check us out at Traffic Services. You can see all this stuff firsthand when it happens. I actually really appreciate those posts. I like hearing about people who are doing really dangerous things and getting caught.
Yes, 100%.
I like it when people get caught. I like when we hold people accountable for putting lives at risk. And no one wants to acknowledge the fact that bad things happen or can happen. There's a reason we have speed limits. It's not just to make it less fun for you. We had 175 aggressive driving charges. That covers a whole bunch of different charges that are aggressive, and you can assume that if it's aggressive, it was aggressive. Also, we had 41 distracted driving charges laid yesterday. That's a whole bunch. 1,133 tickets in total that were traffic related charged in the city of Toronto yesterday. Wild and it's crazy. Listen, if you want to, we're not going to go live. This is our last live for 4 days because we're not here on Monday. Right? We're not here on Monday.
Nope.
Okay, good. I want to double check before I don't show up. But we will be posting, and I will be posting on all social media platforms what the results are over the weekend, day to day. And then we'll come back on Tuesday, first day back in the office, and we will talk at length about all of the charges laid over the campaign, which ends on Sunday. Now, that doesn't mean that on Monday you can start speeding again. No, our Vision Zero enforcement team, and Giancarlo is part of that team, the most beloved team in Toronto, voted by the public who gets tickets. It's a plaque somewhere for you.
Happy customers everywhere we go.
Yes. You know, they're out there all the time. Their focus with Vision Zero enforcement team is to change driver behavior to make our roads safer. Again, no free toaster. I don't even think you get free hugs. Like nothing.
I get a couple of high fives, you know. It's all good.
Listen, it's been a slice. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We are out. Have a wonderful long weekend. If you're celebrating Easter, have a happy Easter. If you're celebrating Passover, have a happy Passover. Q says safe Easter. Make sure you don't eat rotten eggs. And wear protection if you're going to be hunting for things in the garden. I don't know. Easter egg hunts are always fun.
And eat lots of chocolate. Not too much, though.
Chocolate's not safe.
It's not after the fact.
Especially if you're me.
And enjoy free parking on
Yes, free
on
parking.
Tomorrow, not Saturday. I will be working Saturday, ticketing lots of people. Sunday and Monday, though, free parking. Enjoy.